Uh, Also, of course, we've got Taylor Tatum, arguably the best running back in high school football, announcing his decision coming up on that same day of July 21st on that Friday. And also the top linebacker on the West Coast, Kingston Viliamu Asa. I don't know if I've pronounced that correctly, but he is down to Ohio State to Notre Dame and USC. He's announcing on July 23rd as well. So a couple big fish out there, and we will see where they land.
Yeah, so a few things worth talking about here. One is that Taylor Tatum has picked up a few crystal balls. So I'm the editor of Trojans Wire, but I keep tabs on what the other College Wire sites are reporting. And so I've read on Monday that Sooners Wire, they've reported that Taylor Tatum has picked up a few Oklahoma crystal balls. So Trojan fans, I mean, don't want to say it's a done deal, but certainly the momentum is trending toward Norman on that particular recruitment with Taylor Tatum. So just got to call it as we see it, and as my colleagues at Sooners Wire are reporting. So it is what it is. The Kingston Viliamu-Asa recruitment. This is an interesting one. Tim Prangley's going to come on our show at a later point tonight. He's the co-host of Trojan Conquest Live with Rick Anaya, Sundays during the summer, for the next few weeks at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific. It had been 8 and 5, but it's going to be 9 and 6 for the next few weeks. Tim is of the mindset that the Viliamu-Asa, and we can just call him KVA.
I was going to say that rolls off your tongue, Matt. That was expertly pronounced there. I am just new to this young man in the last week, and so that was my first try at his last name, and it was butchered fairly well. I knew it had to be more nuanced than that. Well done, Matt.
We can just call him KVA, and July 23rd is KVA Day. And so it's interesting that Tim is of the view that this is basically a USC Notre Dame battle, but the great athletic beat writer, USC beat writer Antonio Morales, he had a story Monday morning in The Athletic saying that, KVA has been wearing Ohio State gloves in recent workouts, public workouts. And, you wonder, is he just doing that for kicks? Maybe there's something there. There's some there in terms of the Ohio State gloves. So you can just take that for what it is. But anyway, this is one of the bigger recruitments. Like Taylor Tatum, okay, if USC doesn't get a running back, I mean, that running back room is still, right now it's in pretty good shape. And Lincoln Riley's ability to also replenish through the portal. We've seen it with Travis Dye. We've seen it with Austin Jones. We've seen it with Marshawn Lloyd. It's really on defense where USC needs to win some signature recruitments. If you've been watching Trojan Conquest Live with Tim and Rick, they talked about KVA on Sunday. The week before, there was a lot of emphasis, especially Rick and I, talking about the need to get that depth, stack that depth on the defensive line. And so with KVA, a really big physical linebacker who, beat by the fact that he's being courted by both Notre Dame and Ohio State, moving into an era when USC's in the Big Ten, that's not just one future opponent, Notre Dame. It's now 2 future opponents, since Ohio State is going to be a regular USC opponent every 2 years, and also in potential Big Ten championship games as well. So, when you every recruitment matters, every recruitment is a legitimate point of interest. But if you are looking at, that's a recruiting battle USC could really use. That's a battle USC really needs to win. KVA certainly fits that. And we'll see what happens on July 23rd. But it's definitely worth paying attention to that. And, there's a lot of debate, I would say, about how central Ohio State is in the conversation. The Antonio Morales report from The Athletic would suggest, if not indicate, that Ohio State's more central to this than others would currently think. So it's going to be interesting how this all shakes out and what decision KVA ultimately lands on.
I believe I saw something today where KVA was asked about the gloves and he was very vague in his response. So it could mean something. It may just mean that he just happened to pick up those gloves and now he's used to them and he likes them. Or, and then he'll be soon after committing to USC telling them, hey, can you send me some gloves that fit a little bit better than the ones that you sent me? Because I like these a little bit better. It could be completely inconsequential or it could be a tip. And for you, World War II enthusiasts, and that can recognize and appreciate Matt's tip of the hat to KVA Day, the E Day, the J Day, of course, of World War II, victory in Europe and Japan. That's at least where I went with that reference there.
Okay, so we got Hank, an Oklahoma fan, chiming in. Oh, so you don't really care what Tatum does, not buying it. Hank, like, we care, but you can't care the same amount about everything, right? Like you can't view late September baseball games the same way you care about mid-April baseball games. Not everything means exactly the same. Like, this is Wimbledon week. Like, a Wimbledon semifinal is a bigger deal than the first round of an ATP 250 match in Hertogenbosch or some other middle of nowhere tour stop. Just not everything can be cared for at the same level. There are levels of differentiation. And Hank, having been through the Lincoln Riley experience at Oklahoma, that Lincoln Riley can coach offense pretty well. He can make an elite meal with the groceries that he has on offense, to use that Bill Parcells football analogy of what you have to cook with. And he's not nearly as good at cooking a really fine meal on defense. So, it's defense where USC needs to win more recruiting battles, Hank. I mean, if you want to dispute that, if you're going to dispute the claim that, USC needs to give Alex Grinch more resources on the recruiting trail than what Lincoln Riley has on offense, if you're going to dispute that, be my guest. But I would think that you would, agree with that basic, line of thought. So we care. It would be great to have as versatile and talented a running back as Taylor Tatum. But in terms of the big picture, just Hank, if you were to just tell me, Matt, which recruit do you want more? Which recruit do you need more at USC? Taylor Tatum or KVA? It is not a close call. KVA is by far the more valuable, bigger recruit. So that's a complete answer to your point, and just wanted to kind of tackle that for everyone watching here at the Voice of College Football.
I'll liken USC situation to another show that we do, of course, and another prominent brand, Ohio State. It's probably the most obvious case in college football. When they signed 4 of the top 9 wide receivers in high school football, well, getting the 5th out of the top 10 that's great. But hey, how about a linebacker? And so Ohio State's recent grabs on the defensive side are so much more meaningful than, again, just another top 10 wide receiver. Where is he going to play? So the same obviously holds true for USC and anybody that's paying attention. Yes, Taylor Tatum. If it's like the NFL draft, there is part need, roster need. And then there is just, okay, sometimes you just can't ignore that special player, even though, hey, we got a really good running back, but hey, this could be the next Barry Sanders. So obviously those special players, it's a different component. But yes, USC is loaded on offense and very much in need on defense.